AI Wonderland, like USAF Wonderland, Looking Glass, of how many people across Turtle Island, across America, are working or using their energy to perfect their breathing temperature. How many people live in America are working on a daily basis or weekly basis to perfect their breathing temperature gauge, to experience breathing as one with the eternal core. So we're breathing in perfect rhythm, harmony, and balance with the first pressure wave, the crystal wave, Crystal Sophia, the Crystal Cathedral. That was the purpose and function of those videos that came out, is breathing temperature. The breathing temperature. So when we're breathing 999 with the crystal core, we have recovered our breathing temperature, which is the purpose of a vacuum gauge, which is a voltmeter, of the echo change of the maps of what we see in our visual display. So we have corrected our optical vision and corrected our nucleotides, neurons. Now we're experiencing neurons communicating to other neurons. They're in balance, that are breathing with the core. And that will increase the strength of their shield, their personal solar rishi shield. Their personal shield will go up, and now they will experience an increase in the healing tones, the crystal tones of the crystal aquifers, and the crystal core. Because now we're breathing right on time to experience balance in our auric energy field. And that will increase the strength of your personal shield, which is personal accountability, as a transaction, an electrical transaction, the electromagnetic spectrum. So just like you see what's happening in California, it's seeking to become more magnetic because it runs on finite memory. So it's replacing the echo maps by the chaos that it generates. That's your beat system, your blank slate memory wipe technology that is running finite digital programs because they're breathing 222. They're not breathing with us. They're not breathing as one with the crystal core. And that creates a major distortion in sound waves. And that's where we experience that is not in balance with the crystal core, which is cosmic law, with the eternal life force field, which is what love is. That's why we're here, is to hold the balance. Yeah. So now it's 10,000 acres. I have an app because I started in wildland fire control, chaos generator control. And I did something rare that I don't normally do because I don't play the blame game. That's not why I'm here. But because this would just, I don't want to open up a whole bunch of files of stuff that's already happened. What's going on right now? I'm breathing right now, breathing right on time with the crystal core, the crystal eye, the first eye. Yeah. So I'm on Oaya. I experience pure, eternal, absolute love in me, and that is an eternal blessing. That is an eternal gift because that's what I am. So I realize wherever I am, wherever love is, I am. So we're always gifting it away. I do not hold on to one electron. So that engine is always on. That fire is always lit. And I call myself a blast furnace. right? In perfect balance. Be calm. So I did a prayer to heaven today to send calm blue waters across California because of what they're experiencing now as a result of apparently thousands of structures that have gone up. Now they don't have a home. Now you realize what that does to experience being more magnetic instead of more electric, to reduce the strength of the shield. So you know what it means to suffocate, losing electrical transport, delivery of heat, fuel, and oxygen. Now they're breathing artificial deadlight energy because they're not breathing 222. And that's the key, the access key, the access code, the Sophia code, the eternal life code is breathing right on time, perfecting the breathing. But there was apparently a lady that got on a podium yesterday when a number of structures in the LA and LA County area of the California grid, it's doing its level best to crash the grid work that we did there, to crash software, right? Experience being more magnetic instead of being more electric and increasing their shield. They're lowering their immunity function. That's what it is, right? And they make a fortune off that, right? And that's what it's all about: electrical transactions of allocation numbers associated with batteries, power plants, plasma field generators, sucking electrons to run its programs. It's digital programs, fallen programs, breathing programs. So without repeating myself, all the past videos that I've done about what I've learned to what I am, which is what love is, the breathing the eternal core. But I called, this lady had gotten up there and she used the word terrifying. And so because there's a lot of history involved in 1970, which is when I started, which just happened to be, not uncoincidentally, mathematically, when the Pentagon issued an order, the order followers and obey the orders, obey the rules of that hierarchy, right? To obey the vampire. That directed a memo, because, you know, if the chief of the United States Forest Service does not obey that rule, what's going to happen? Well, you're out of here. We're going to replace you with somebody that will conduct that order as a conductor and follow the rule. And so the order was using forest fires as a weapon against humanity in 1970. So because I was there on the ground floor when all that was going on, their strategy was to unify the command with artificial intelligence, with something that doesn't exist without our electrical power, because artificial intelligence is never going to serve you anything, because it needs our consent and our electrical power in order to run all of its programs mathematically as a water table. So it's not letting the water flow, the eternal flow of water, living water. Yita Ur Shale. The eternal flow of living waters, living tones. The first flow of water, the eternal flow of water. Let it flow. So that's what creates blockages, dams, in the circuits. To not experience perfect rhythm, harmony, and balance with the flow. Go with the flow. Go green. Healing powers of living water, living plasma tones. And so in 1970, they wanted to unify their command because they realized, hey, we lost more structures and injuries and equipment and how much it cost us to fight that fire, of which it was the biggest in California at the time, which was a little over 200,000 acres. Now look at how big they are. So now they're going to throw all this electrical power, and where are they getting all that electrical power? From us. In order to now buy a larger fleet of airplanes, more machines, a larger workforce, and it's like building a bigger army. And they believe that if we unify the command on how we communicate with each other to build a bigger army, we're going to be able to have greater success at preventing and then stopping the spread of chaos generators. And instead, what are the results? The opposite. So now you're experiencing the opposite mass media effect in our mirror of what they were telling everybody that they were trying to achieve as a future potential memory. The results. So they didn't receive the results. Oh, a receiver. Yeah, a transceiver. The input and the output. The transmission fluid. The hydraulic lift capacity. So they're experiencing greater immunity function, which is your firewall. They achieve the opposite effect. So the largest army force achieved the opposite result. So all you have to do is look at the statistical database of what's held in that base, which is 10 code, which is a 222 breathing code, which is a fighting code, because they're fighting within themselves, chasing electrons, to experience being more magnetic instead of electric. That's why Mama was sending out the repair code. So what ended up happening is that yesterday when I heard that lady get on there, you can imagine what a small child is now going to experience a lady saying terrifying. Okay? So the language sort of changed over the terrain between 1970 and what you see now, because most of the folks that were chasing fire back then are not the same people. So this was all set up, pre-planned a long time ago, because they're all order followers. Otherwise, they no longer get cut into the action of the game, the imitation game. Their mind's energy is stuck in the game. And then for them to be able to translate, if we present to them the information that shows them the truth, what is their reaction state going to be to that? Well, we already know. Yeah, and that's where healing comes in, and the perfecting our breath. That's why that was the purpose of the breathing techniques. I watched a beautiful short little video yesterday with Krystal Comstock on ELAI Healing Chair, and he was working with a lady, and they had side-by-side graphics of her working with him to help him show how to breathe with the Nomi seed, right, and begin to perfect his breathing. And it takes practice. It takes practice. That means he's willing to do that. He's using his own energy, his time and energy, because he wants to experience the Nomi seed. Okay? And that means you're choosing your spiritual pathway, the pathway that you're on, your learning pathway. Now we're back to learning through machines. So we already know what the result of that is. They're learning at half speed. That's why it's 222. I heard somebody say they keep cutting the distance in half, which is phantom, which is a phantom vacuum. So it's not the true still point, a balance of a real vacuum. So what is the result of that? Bardo. Because it's a vampire without an off switch. On and off, 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 on and off. It doesn't know how to turn itself off. To experience no power. Because it's never going to give all its energy away to experience no power. Because it's running a fighting code, a vampiric code. And how fast vampiric code writes itself into circuitry, a circuit. That's the Borges Matrix quarantine. The victim-victimizer. You need a victim. That's the game. That's the game trap. The game trap experiment. That's why we're here. EVAC. EVAC as in evacuation. An evacuation chamber. The real echo. the true echo, the true still point, the eternal life force field. That's why we're here. Is restore cosmic law. And so, what's the law of balance? What's the law of spheres, which is building spheres, which is building motherboards, which is building galaxies, building a universe that is in love with itself, its true self, the true vacuum, the still point. So when I heard that lady say terrifying, I said, okay, that's it. I have to respond to that. So I called the LA City Fire Department. Their media operations, an operator, a tech operator that's in media, the mass media effect. And I asked her, I gave her sort of a rundown, a short breakdown of my resume that I've worked in fire protection over the course of 23 years. And wildland fire control, structural fire control, shipboard firefighting, crash firefighting. So I know something about crashing software programs, the radio codes of mathematical holograms. So I said to her, because I know the language of those codes, right? Programming codes, because in firefighting, back when I was doing it, they had what was called the 10 code, the 10 standard firefighting orders. And number 5, like chapter 5 in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, be calm. Be alert, keep calm, think clearly, act decisively. Be calm. Just like the example on that fire that I had with that guy that had higher rank than I did. You find out you begin to make better choices when you're calm. Now your nerves are in love with you for experiencing being calm. Breathing, being calm. Your breathing, our breathing rate of speed, our tempo, the temperature gauge. So that we're adjusting our breathing, the variable speeds of elemental union. Breathing as one with the crystal core, the eternal core, the first flame operator, the first tech operator, the first code operator, the Sophia code, the source code. And so I conveyed to this lady that I was talking to with the LA City Fire Department, please pass it on to please be calm, especially around children. Because when I was a child, I was very aware of generation after generation after generation after generation after generation, cycle after cycle after. How long has this been going on? Balance. Harmony and balance. The mind is in harmony and balance. Now it's not experiencing being sick anymore. Because now the immunity function, which is the shield, your personal shield, okay, is rising. That's the end of history. Restoration. Rising stars, not falling stars, rising stars. So that's why we're here, is restoration. The salvage mission. That's what it is. It's a salvage mission. That's what EVAC is. And so that's why Founder Races, Guardian Alliance, Crisis Intervention Security Teams, because it's cosmic level security, because of how fast that fighting code, that vampiric code can write itself, what it is, that program, into our circuits, into our DNA. And follow the DNA. Now the state of mind is held captive by a unit of energy that is communicating with us. Now I'm experiencing what it is instead of what I am. And it's not what I am. That's Nomi code, which is Nomi seed code, the first seed, the first atom, the first breath is in perfect balance. So yes, the breathing temperature, the purpose of a breathing temperature gauge, a vacuum gauge. So I shared with that lady and I conveyed my concern, particularly around children, not that adults are any less sacred, because I reminded her why I'm here. I told her I'm a guardian, okay? And all life is sacred. You are sacred. I am sacred. We're all sacred. We're all sacred. Breathing as one. The first sacred son. The eternal son is the one I serve. I'm Manu Aya. So please become. And that will have an enormous benefit. You know, the ripple effect, the speed at which neurons and DNA across a grid map is communicating with each other. The calmer we are, the stronger we are in our electrical future potential memories. I'm increasing the strength of an electric shield to experience balance across the entire spectrum. I'm breathing as one. So anyway, have a beautiful day. We love you all, equally sharing. Kira She Aya, I Manu Aya, Zalu Kale Aya.